Hello everyone. My name is Feng. I was born in Shanghai, China, and I lived there for 30 years. Currently, I am living in Japan and studying Japanese. At the same time, I'm studying international business through the ILIN program. It was very interesting for me where I started this philosophy of ethics course because we don't really study philosophy in China. And I studied engineering for my undergraduate in Shanghai. However, after I graduated, I began to work in human resources for 7 years because I'm not actually very interested in engineering. We don't have many choices when we go to college in China, and engineering jobs are generally easier to find. Chinese believe we have a responsibility to take care of our parents because they raised us and supported us to achieve our goals. Because of this, I began to reflect on what I had been taught growing up and how it is represented by the values of Confucius. To be honest, I was surprised that a number of Western scholars studied ideas of Confucius because they are not taught in school these days in China. But the way we communicate with one another reflects that Confucius' ideas have already been deeply rooted in our life and are still taught informally by our parents. For example, I learned how to respect elderly by observing our parents' behavior. I also really liked learning the different views presented in the course. A lot of the philosophers we studied had a really different background that conflicting ideas, but I found it difficult for me to fully comprehend the views of ancient Western philosophers because I don't have enough background knowledge that I could relate it to Western culture. For example, the philosophy of master and slave morality I found to be too extreme and hard to relate it to, and the view of feminist ethics was difficult for me to understand as well. On the other hand, Mill argued that quality of happiness can be judged only when we have experienced both actions. It is an argument with an old Chinese philosophy that says, 子非鱼，焉知鱼之乐 means you are not a fish, how can you judge? The quote comes from one of the Confucius students named Zhuangzi. He said this is a reply to his friend who claimed that fish must be much happier than people because they have such a relaxing, carefree life. But his point is the same as Mill. It's impossible to judge a situation unless you have experienced both sides. In this case, he's telling his friend that he can't possibly make that claim because he is not a fish, and we can't understand how fish feel. I really enjoyed reading Mill's writing, but through the moral maze, the Robot King was the one I enjoyed the most. The author explored different views of morals and explained where those thoughts originally came from. He suggests we should open our mind to listen to everyone's arguments in order to find the least criticized opinion, assume that opinion is most likely the correct answer. King brought up an interesting point, and I felt like I could understand his point of view much more clearly than the others. Overall, I thought the class was very interesting and thought-provoking. I'm glad I was be able to learn so many different perspectives, and I liked using the wiki to communicate with everyone. Thanks for a great class.